I have some headlines for you. The UK's cost of living crisis will cause thousands of premature deaths, study says. More than 1 million children in the UK sleep on floor or share a bed, study finds. UK mortgage payers making big changes to meet higher payments, according to a survey. Childcare costs soaring by over $700 a month as firms insist on return to office. Britons pull the plug on bath time to save money. UK recession risk grows as higher interest rates weigh on firms. This is the Great Britain, the empire on which the sun never sets. But it's not so sunny anymore, is it? And the Great Britain is not so great anymore. All through this week, I've told you about the UK's cost of living crisis, how Britons are struggling under the weight of high prices. We raise this question: is the UK going broke? If you thought we were being dramatic, today we'll give you only facts and you can make the call. Is the Great Britain really that great? Has the sun finally set on the British Empire? Those are the questions we want to answer. Hello and welcome. I'm Priyanka Sharma and this is Gravitas Plus. Let's begin with inflation. You can calculate it in various ways, but the main headline measure is the Consumer Prices Index. In August, the UK's inflation stood at 6.7%. This includes cost of housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuel. What does this mean? Take this for example. If gas cost $100 a year ago, it would now cost Britons $106.7. What caused this rise? Mainly soaring food and energy bills. The CPI inflation may have slid down since the beginning of this year, but the food inflation still remains high, much higher at 13.6%. And it is forcing Britons to cut back on essential groceries. If you take a look at the price surge, you will understand. Sugar prices have gone up by 55.8%, olive oil by 38.3%, sauces and condiments by 28.1%, frozen vegetables by 24.8%. You see, we are not even talking about high-end gourmet food. We are talking about sugar, oil, and condiments, things that you and I find just lying around in our kitchen. Can you imagine even a single meal without them? But Britons now have to think twice before eating these. Writer Julian Barnes famously described Britain as the land of embarrassment and breakfast. And now only embarrassment is left because breakfast has become too pricey. And why just food? Britons are dodging baths too. Data from supermarkets has shown that consumers have become sensitive to the cost of personal hygiene products. You could call it a fallout of the pandemic, but let's be frank. In today's Britain, households are making tough choices, sometimes between a fancy shower gel and a meal. Gone are the days when they could toss in exquisite shower gels and bubble baths in their baskets. Now they stick to plain old soaps. In the first half of 2023, sales of hand wash were down 23%. Bubble bath receipts decreased by 35%. However, there's one reassurance. Sales of soap bars are booming. Why? Because for the first time in years, decades even, there has been a growth in the soap bar market. Number one reason, it is the cheapest option. Number two, people are now preferring showers over baths. Yes, households are turning off the taps to save cash in the UK. Showers are more economical when compared to luxurious baths. So crippling is the cost of living crisis that personal hygiene is not a priority anymore. Such is the plight of Britons. Is that why so many of them are turning towards shoplifting? Leeds has now become England's shoplifting capital. Can you even imagine? Shoplifting in the UK is so prevalent that one particular city has earned this tag. More than 2,100 crimes have been recorded in Leeds. The city has seen an 83% rise in crimes. Security guards are chasing down thieves armed with stolen goods daily. Mind you, similar scenes are being recorded in Cardiff too. For all the students watching me right now, remember, Leeds and Cardiff may be on your list as destinations to pursue higher studies. They're hotspots for international students. Their beaches, scenic architecture, weather, nightlife may attract you. Well, do remember, do your research because chances of you being mugged in these cities are also quite high. And when you do graduate, will the UK even have a job for you? The UK's private sector is enduring its most rapid rate of job cuts since the global financial crisis. Basically, companies are firing people left, right, and center. Total new work in the private sector fell for the third month in a row. And this is what data from S&P has shown. It says the nation could be sliding towards a recession. You might often joke that your bills and EMIs are never ending, but for Britons, it rings true at some other level. Interest rates have increased to 5.25%. In August, the Bank of England spiked the interest rates for the 14th time in 22 months. Now, to cope with dramatically higher monthly payments, mortgage holders are making big changes to their finances. They are raiding their savings to get through the month. Many have cut their pension contributions. Others have gone so far as to sell and move to cheaper homes. Families also running on tight budgets. More than 1 million children in the United Kingdom either sleep on the floor or have to share a bed with their parents or siblings. Why? Because their family cannot afford the luxury of beds. They don't have extra cash to replace broken frames or moldy linen. Some parents would sleep on sofas or chairs to vacate their bed for their children. Other children would spend the night on mattresses or blankets on the floor, sometimes without sheets or duvets. Forget jobs, career and mortgage. Your very survival could be at risk in the United Kingdom. A crippling cost of living crisis, crumbling infrastructure, medical staff on strike. All this is currently squeezing the life out of the people. I'm not saying this. Look at this study now. It came out this week. The findings have been published in the journal BMJ Public Health. They say the cost of living crisis will probably cause thousands of premature deaths in the United Kingdom. The crisis is so bad that it's literally cutting life short. The proportion of people dying before their time is expected to rise by 6.4%. The poorest households will experience 4 times the number of extra deaths when compared to the wealthiest homes in the United Kingdom. Let's now talk about the country's healthcare system. It is failing its people. Ambulance services had record-long waiting times. Strikes from healthcare professionals are never ending. 1 million medical appointments got cancelled. Life-saving surgeries were put on hold. Diagnostic tests delayed. Infrastructure. Infrastructure in the UK is not exactly getting glowing reviews either. Schools are crumbling. And I'm not exaggerating. More than 100 schools and public buildings in the United Kingdom are facing closure. Why? Because of cheap and lightweight building material. It's called reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete. It was extensively used across the UK between the 1950s and 1980s. And now, 572 schools run the risk of complete collapse. But who will fix them? City councils are running out of funds. Take the case of the Birmingham City Council, the largest in Europe. It has declared itself bankrupt. When Britain's second biggest city effectively declares itself bankrupt, it begs the question, is the Great Britain going broke? Does the government have any money to spend? It's a story we've told you before and will continue to tell you. The Great Britain is in a great mess. It is drowning in a cocktail of crises. For the longest time, the UK had been living beyond its means in every way. It's catching up to the Great Britain now.